Hi guys, welcome to the third season. I hope you have done the last season homeworks carefully and successfully. Here we're gonna begin our session with array tool actually. So let's check it out. Here we can get access to the icon of array command. We can open the dockable window and then fix it here. Since for now we're gonna work with them, so I fix it in the scene. But the first command in array tools is rectangular array. As you can see, as usual, I'm gonna give you some examples by using these commands. Here if I sketch a cube or a box, 1 and 1, check this out. By this way. Well done. I select it and then I click on rectangular array, or I can type array rectangular, and then among these I choose array. Here array is the rectangular array. No, there is no difference. Then I should specify the number in x direction. I mean along the x direction, as you can see. For example 10. Then the number in y direction. For example 10. And then number in z direction. For instance 5. Let's check it out. Then I press down enter. Then I should specify the spacing. Unit cell or x spacing. 3 for x, 4 for y. And then for spacing 2.5 for z. Check this out. This is the array. By this way. Here is the first preview. That right now we can modify the specified parameters. For example, the z spacing. I click on z spacing and then I modify the value. For example, 3.5. Or for example, the z number or y spacing. You can use these coordinates. For example, y spacing. I click on it, then I specify a new value, 4.5 for instance, or even y number, for example 5. Check this out. Like this. This is the preview. Enter. By this order. Let me give you another example. Again, I start the command of array, then number in x direction, z direction, y direction, then the spacing. This time I don't wanna import the spacing manually. I wanna use the mouse or the cursor of the mouse. Check this out. This is used for when we do not have an accurate value. So we can adjust the spacing and also the number by the marker of the mouse in the scene, like this. And we do not necessarily use array in 3 directions, for example. Assume that here, as you can see, we are working in a 2D view top. We got a rectangle like this. Let me turn off. Then I have sketched a polygon here, for example, as you can see. By this way, then I want to array these polygon. Let me scale the size by this way, and here you may have guessed what I want to specify for the number in z direction, which is 1, not 0. In x direction. Here I can specify an approximate value like 20, you don't have to know an exact value. Then in y direction 12, and then in z direction 1. 0 is not accepted here. By this way. But this time I wanna adjust them by using the marker of the mouse. Check this out. Like this. At this size. But you should know that you don't have to know the exact spacing or the numbers at the first sight, because you can place them and then edit them. I will tell you how. Here, as you can see, we should remove one of the rows, or we can edit the spacing in order to arrange these polygons into the rectangle or inside the rectangle. Here the y spacing is negative, since it is opposite the y direction. For example, for y spacing I specify minus 1.7. Let me modify it again. It is not accurate. Again, minus 1.68. Check this out. I want to add a row. For the number in y direction I specify 13. Let's check it out. Right now it is more proper. Great. And at the other side we can modify the spacing or the numbers. For example, 1.7, 1.62, 1.63. You see, or 64. You know, the preview is very great. You can check it out and then modify it, and then if it was the final changes, you can press down enter. So this was all about the rectangular array or array. But what about the others? The next is array along curve. As you can see on the screen, by using this array, we array a specific object along a curve. We should specify a path as the guideline, and then it arrays the object on the given path. Let's check it out. For instance, here I got this line or this curve. I turn off F8 or ortho. Following that, I want to sketch a cube or a box in order to array it like this. Check this out. I want to array this along this curve or along the path. I type ArrayCrv or curve, and here is the icon array along curve. I select the object which would want it to be arrayed. I press down enter. Then I should specify the path curve. I click on the curve. Then here I can specify the number of the items and the distance between items. Here you got two methods of distribution, distance or number. If you check number of items, then you can specify the value, for example 30, then click on OK. By this way. But sometimes you may want to, for example, array some trees on a path or a side of a path, or you may want to array some lights or whatever. The distance between these objects or items doesn't matter. So you can check distance between items and then specify the distance manually. And if you specify the value of number, it gives you the distance. Then if you specify the distance, it gives you the number. For example, 3 meters, then we will have 26. 3 meters, then we will have 26 boxes. 4 meters, and then 20 objects. For example 22, then the distance will be 3.64 by this way. For example, I specify 3.5 as the distance between items, then this will be the result. So this is the service or option that we are provided with. Let us talk about other options. I select the object and also the path, and then in array along curve option, we talked about methods, right now the orientation. As you can see, we got the orientation options. The first no rotation, then the objects won't rotate while they are arrayed on the path. And then the options of 2 and 3 are freeform and road-like. They act similar to each other in planar paths, but let us compare these two with each other. I make a copy by this way, and then I start the command of ArrayCrv. I check no rotation with the same method of distribution. OK, 22. As you can see, the objects haven't been rotated. The angle of their placement are fixed. Let's check them out. As you can see, they are fixed. They haven't been rotated along the path. What about freeform and road-like? If we check it, the objects will be rotated along the path based on the angle of the path. Freeform and road-like acts like each other in the planar paths. For example, freeform, let's check it out. As you can see, the objects have been rotated along the path as the path is rotated, or based on the orientation of the path, or let us consider the angle between the object and the path. And as you can see, this angle is constrained along the path. As you can see, along with the rotation of the path, the objects have been rotated to constrain the angle. So by this time, I wanna modify the path. I move it to have it 3D like this. Right now the path is no more planar. Then I make 3 copies or duplicates. Then I'm gonna analyze or consider the differences. I start the command of ArrayCrv. Let's talk about the first one. I specify the object and the curve or the path. Here in no rotation, that as I told you, the object won't rotate. As you can see, they are kept vertical on the path. For example, while you are placing some trees or poles on a road, this option would be very useful since you can place them vertically and straightly. So in no rotation option, orientation, we got the objects vertically and straightly without rotation. But about the next one, which is freeform. Okay, here as you can see, they are not straight, they are not vertical, they are rotated based on the orientation of the path. We have them in different angles in both top and perspective view, as you can see, and they are rotated to preserve the angle. And the last one, let me start the command of ArrayCrv, which was wrote like. Let's see. When we array our object, for example this box, enter, and then I specify the path, I choose word like, and OK. When we choose word like in array, as you can see, we are needed to click in the viewport to choose a C-plane or current plane. For example, as I am in perspective view, I should click in the viewport to specify the current plane. Then after a click, it considers the view in which you have clicked in or clicked as the current plane, and then it rotates the objects only at the specified plane. Check this out. Here in top view, compare these two. As you can see in road like, objects follow the curve but maintain a consistent up direction relative to the construction plane because we have clicked in perspective view. And I know it is difficult to explain these, the differences between these three, but I wanted to show you practically in 3 examples. But I should say that we use no rotation. When we need our objects to be placed vertically and straightly without any rotation, and we usually use freeform, and road like is not frequently used. And another point that you should put it into consideration while arraying is that when the object is distant to the path or curve. So we're gonna consider this curve as our path. For instance, here I'm gonna place my object or the box which I want to array it. Here if I start the command of ArrayCrv, then I specify the path and also the object, then specifying the method and also freeform. I click on OK. Check this out. As you can see, the array is started from the place of the object, and the array it is not regular, so at such a condition we should move either the object or the path, since the object should be placed on the path. Or you should use the point that I want to tell you. When you are arraying, here there is an option named base point. When your object is distant to the curve or path and you don't want to move your object, you should specify, or you can specify, the base point. Here if I click on base point, then I should specify the base point for objects to array, so that point of the object will be placed on the path. For example, here as you can see, you got the object and the path. I specified this end intersection as the base point, and then I specify the path. Check this out. Look. The specified point will be placed on the path. Let us try again. Base point, for example the midpoint. Then I click on the path curve. Okay, check this out. The midpoint is placed on the path curve like this. Let me exemplify another practical case. For instance, assume that you are working on a facade of the building or the view. Check this out. Wait for a second please, I'm preparing the example. Thanks for your patience. Let me extend these by this way. Then we're gonna have some modeling or design the beneath of these. And the object that I wanna array it. Wait for a sec. For instance, this is the object by this way. I will talk about the modification of the object or the addition of it later, but till now we're just wanna focus on arraying the objects on a specified path by this way. Don't worry, I will teach you everything very well. I hide this object and then I sketch a rectangle to consider it as the path, and then Alt Control H to show the object. Here as you can see, the object is on the ground while I want to array it at the top of the box, and it is difficult to place the object there at the top of the building or at the top of the box, I start the command of ArrayCrv or curve. I select the object, enter, then I should specify the path, actually base point, the intersection. Then here I click to specify the curve, then the method, the value or the number 60, freeform, okay. Check this out. So while your object is distant to the path, you can use base point option. And this is the rendered preview. Sometimes we use ArrayCrv or curve instead of array linear. Let me give you an example, then I want you to think about it and then tell me the reason. For example, here we got the object. Then I'm gonna sketch a straight line on which I want to array this object, array linear, for example 24 as the number, and then I want to specify the distance or spacing. Check this out, you know, it is hard to control the spacing between them, but here if I sketch a line, a straight line like this, by this way, as we're concerned, we can array an object straightly in linear array, but I do it by using ArrayCrv. I specify the object, the path, and then the method, the distance, the number, the orientation. I can easily control everything, especially when the number of items does matter, the distance does matter. Since in linear array we can't specify the number, we only can specify the distance. For example, here, there we can only specify each 2 meters or 3 meters. But here we can array the object based on the number. So here in ArrayCrv, we got more opportunity, or let me say that more facilities in array linear does not provide us with. So guys, don't forget to practice these items, these lessons, and then for your homework, please try to do this wall array, in which here we got a wall, a wavy wall. But at first, you should practice on the lesson and then the homework. In the next session, I will talk about it.